everybody pop in and we'll get started here in just a minute. Welcome, Alan, Antoine, Bill, Brett, Don, Doug, Elena, Eugene, Graham, John, Kyle, Melissa. Man, the list goes on and on. I'm so excited for all of you to be here. As you're popping on, go ahead and in the chat, if you would, go ahead and let me know exactly where you are from, and I'll bring you on. And we've got Eugene from Chicago, Illinois. What's up, Eugene? Brad from Marietta, Kyle from Alabama, Dawn from Chicago, Skip from New Hampshire, Shane from Cumming, Georgia, Karen and Carl always from Great Barrington, Massachusetts, Melissa from South Carolina. Awesome. Always on Tuesday night, we are going to be live. We got Miss Shannon Johnson from Philadelphia, Brett Wiggins from Illinois. Graham said he's still in Phoenix. Doug from St. Croix, Dana from Houston, Eleanor from Lawrenceville, Georgia. I tell you, we got something incredible tonight. We're going to talk about being a realtor and the benefits of being a realtor in the investment business. Now, PSA, I'm not a realtor or a licensed real estate agent, but I do want to give you some information tonight to help you make a decision on if that's a path of maybe something that you want to go down, right? The path of being an actual licensed real estate individual. And that's great about tonight. We'll get started here in just a minute. What's up, Eleanor from Lawrenceville, Georgia, Jeffrey Craig from Long Beach, California, John Walker from Rochester, New York, Rowena from Sandy Springs, Georgia. Actually, I'm in my home tonight out of a little town called Dahlonega, Georgia, which is in North Georgia, about maybe an hour from Tennessee. We got a Michael from Dallas, Texas. So glad you're here. Tammy from Virginia. Wow, what an awesome night. We got people all the way from California, all the way from Georgia. We've got New York, New Jersey. So glad you're all here. Peter will be joining us in just a minute. But, as you're popping on, guys, let me know where you're from. And we'll get started here in just a minute. See if we got anybody from the same town. Well, again, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about being a licensed individual in this market. What's up, Peter?
Technology is what's up. Technology. I am not a user. So sorry about that.
That's okay. I was just welcoming everybody on because we've got Dave from Florida, Sam from Virginia. We got people from all over tonight. So, Tuesday nights is something that Peter and I have been doing for a couple of years now. And it's always live, never recorded, unless you're getting this in a recorded format. But live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking all about real estate. Right? My favorite subject. I mean, unfortunately, people probably don't want to hear me talk about it as much as I do, but I just absolutely love it. So it's good we've got a forum to talk to folks about real estate, because I know if you're on tonight, it's because you love real estate too, or you want to learn more, or just, hear what new things are coming along. But tonight's super different. I know we're going to be talking about being a licensed individual in today's market. And I'll tell you, for years, I've been around a lot of real estate investors, and a lot of times realtors are on one side and investors are on the other side. And a lot of times they don't work together, which is actually a sad thing, because, there is room for both individuals in this market. And for some of you, there was room for you to be both, which is nuts. I, definitely believe in the model. A couple of years ago, I actually owned and ran a real estate team being a non-licensed individual, where we would show realtors how to get listings from some of our seller leads that didn't turn into deals. So, which, by the way, if you're a realtor or a real estate agent, listing leads are gold, right? The person that controls the listing is the one that controls the market where you are. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. It's Tuesday night. Tuesday night, Julie and I take different approaches. Sometimes we talk inspirational. Sometimes we talk techniques. Sometimes we share stories. Sometimes we share our partners. And like Julie said, tonight we're going to talk about some licensing stuff. It's pretty relevant, just overall, the conversation that Julie and I are going to have to the market we're in today overall. In terms of some people having to get licenses. They didn't think they'd have to get licenses before. So we're going to kind of give you our angle on it. But before we get started, as always, what I like to do is just introduce myself. Again, I'm Peter Vekselman. On the other side is Julie Muse. We are real estate investors, have been for many, many years, done thousands of real estate deals. And today we run what is nationally known as the partner-driven real estate model. And in essence, what we do is we literally enable everyday people across the United States to do real estate deals. And how we do that is providing what are known as pillars of success to real estate investors. The first thing, and you know this if you're a partner, we coach and mentor you. We firmly believe that this is one of those businesses that you do not want to go at it by yourself. You don't want to figure it out as you go. It's a business that's got a huge upside. It's also a business, though, that happens to have a brutal downside if you don't know what you're doing. So the second thing we do with our partners is we help them generate motivated seller leads. If you know anything about real estate, if you just know one thing, you know this, that it's all about finding a motivated seller. So we go as far as providing what we call Deal Engine HQ. So we basically, through that CRM, we literally help our partners identify the motivated sellers in their marketplace. Next, we provide our partners technology, critical. If you're going to be an investor, if you don't have technology today, you're going to be left behind just because of the quickness of things that are happening, the quickness of access to information and things like that. Once we find the right deals, we provide all the capital, whether it's short-term capital or a little bit longer on the fix and flips. Then we put them in the market, sell them, split the profits down the middle, 50-50. And that right there is the partner-driven model. So tonight, some of you guys are partners already. We're glad you're here. We know why you're here. This is another chance for you to level up, as we call it, to kind of get around Julie and myself, to learn a little bit more, to absorb a little bit more. And I promise you, if you're a partner, you are going to hear a conversation that Julie and I together, as far as I remember, have ever had. In terms of what's possible from the licensing perspective tonight. If you're not a partner tonight, you're probably just checking us out. You're trying to get a feel for us. We're glad you're here also, and you will also learn tonight when Julie and I talk a little bit about the licensing side and the importance of that for some people and how you could actually monetize it and capitalize it. And some of you all are not partners, but you're here tonight and you're ready to become a partner. And so there'll be a phone number that'll be up here in your chat that you could call in, talk to a team member tonight, and literally as early as tomorrow be on your way to putting deals together with us in our partner-driven model. So I'm going to flip this over to Julie here in a second, but what we're going to talk to you guys about tonight, and as I dialed in, I heard Julie already talk about it. We're going to talk to you about realtors, licensing, and how it impacts us as investors. You know, it's a conversation that a lot of times it's, I guess it's a little bit like being a brain surgeon and being a dentist. You're in the same arena, like you're in a doctor world, but you may not have nothing to do with each other, right? You may run in the same different circles. You might have the different networking events. You probably make a different kind of income. And I'll tell you, when it comes to real estate investing, many times that's how the realtor world and the investor world have been treated. As we all fall under the same umbrella, but we kind of all tend to stay in our own lanes, okay? So what we want to talk to you guys about today is, number one, what is a realtor and what lane does a realtor stay in? And then we kind of just want to bat and forth kind of some of the pros and cons about like what, like as an investor, does it make sense to get a real estate license? I will tell you, The answer may surprise you. And it's actually, as I started evaluating it more, remember, both she and I, Julie and I, are both unlicensed. Okay. And we've made it very far being unlicensed. But I will tell you, you may be a little bit surprised as you stay towards the end, kind of our take on it. But some of you, but the first thing is very important is let's kind of like define what an agent, what a realtor is, and what their function is, and what it is that they do, both for us on the investor side and both, most importantly, on the retail side. So, Julie, you want to handle that?
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start with a real estate agent, okay? A real estate agent is someone that represents buyers and or sellers in the acquisition or the disposition of real estate, okay? So they can help them buy real estate or they can help them sell real estate. As a licensed individual, you would need to go through a real estate course in your particular state. When you become a licensed agent, you are not an agent all over the United States. You are generally an agent in that particular state. Okay. Agents can be licensed in multiple states. Sometimes that's reciprocal from state to state, but it would require you to go through a real estate course. Then what you would do is that you would then take a state exam that would then qualify you to be a licensed real estate agent. Okay. As a licensed real estate agent, you must be under a broker. A broker is someone has the next level of training above a real estate agent. And I may be wrong here, but I believe you must be a licensed real estate agent for at least 2 years in most states to get broker status. As an agent, you're going to come in when you're brand new. You're going to work underneath a brokerage who has that like you guys have all heard of them, the Keller Williams, the Coldwell Bankers, the Century 21s. There's lots and lots of brokerages out there, even mom and pop brokerages. Why is it? How do real estate agents make money? And by the way, there is a difference between a licensed real estate agent and an actual realtor. A realtor is someone that is credentialed through the National Association of Realtors. Okay, they have a lobby group. It's being part of the club to be called a realtor. Actually, I really believe in that too, is becoming a realtor as well as a licensed real estate agent. Well, let's talk about how you make money. So when you're an agent, and we're talking about the retail side of things right now, because I want to make sure that everybody understands what a basic individual in this position does. Okay. And by the way, in the chat, if anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer these. Okay. So once you've taken the test, okay, and you've passed the test, then you're going to join a brokerage. Generally, to do that, there are going to be fees associated with that, such as joining your local MLS or paying your brokerage to be at their location. And the traditional model of a licensed individual is that whenever a house goes up for sale, okay, let's say I wanted to sell my house. I would hire a realtor to list my house. What is the benefits of that? The benefits of that, number one, is the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. Okay. You cannot list a property onto the MLS unless you are a licensed individual. What then happens is that other realtors are able to see potential listings on that MLS. There could be several MLSs in a state, like Georgia, for instance. There's Georgia MLS, there's FMLS, and usually this is determined by areas. Sometimes the MLSs overlap each other, or sometimes there's just one MLS per location. So once you agree to list your home through a listing agreement, Then the agent then will list the property on the MLS. The traditional model is that there is a 6% commission on the total sales price of a property. Okay, this is traditional. Generally, what you'll see is the listing agent will make 3% of that commission, right? And the buyer's agent will collect the other 3% of the commission. Generally, a buyer's agent represents potential buyers that go and purchase properties. Okay, they take them to show houses, they help them write the contracts, negotiate the deal with the other agent and the seller. So these agents are representing the sellers and the buyers. Okay, so how do you make money? Well, on $100,000 house at a 6% commission, you're looking at a total of $6,000 in commission. Okay. But you're right. Listings are with brokers, not with agents. You're totally right. So generally one's going to get 3%, the other's going to get 3%, and that comes out of the proceeds from the sale of the property. Okay, so that's coming out of the seller's proceeds on a normal transaction. Now I will tell you, an agent never walks away with their 3%. People think, oh goodness, real estate agents make so much money. Guys, it costs a lot of money to be an agent to an extent, because you've got to pay your broker. You may have to pay errors and emissions. You've got marketing. You're starting a business for yourself. Okay. So a lot of the money they're making in the commission is going to pay for all the stuff that they have for being a business owner or marketing the property, etc. So that is a basic explanation of what an actual real estate agent does and how they get paid. And that's like, okay, John Smith and Jane Smith are going to go buy a house. We're going to refer to that tonight as retail real estate. Retail real estate. Usually these homes are updated, they're beautiful, they're things you see, like on TV. Then there's the other side. Okay, there's the dark side of the business. That's the investment side of the business. I'm just joking with you. But like, to me, all agents are not qualified to do investment deals. All agents are not necessarily qualified to work with investors. And over the years, I could totally see that, because there are models out there right now that you'll learn from other gurus whose whole model is to beat down real estate agents into making offer after offer after offer after offer after offer after offer. And it's a lot of work to put these offers in. Okay, but tonight we're going to talk about how being an agent in this day and age and in the investment world is beneficial, in my opinion. And I'm going to go ahead and say this before we even get started. This is my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a licensed individual. At this point, I probably never will be, because that's just not a path I want to go down. But yeah, probably if I was to go back 7 or 8 years and change things, I may have become a licensed individual. I mean, it would have been something, because I would have been able to make money on the listing side. Probably never would have been much of a buyer's agent. I don't know if that would have been something I wanted to do, but a lot of the leads where I couldn't make deals happen, I could have been the listing agent on that. So what's your opinion about that, Peter?
I'll be honest with you. For many years, like I said, there has been a very big distinction between being a licensed agent and being an investor. And my personal opinion, for many years, was that we as investors, well, let me take it back. Way long time ago, like when I got started a couple decades ago, I would say there was an advantage back then to being licensed. And here's the advantage. The advantage was that real estate agents had access to the type of information that we as investors did not have access to, primarily the MLS. And I could tell you, MLS definitely gives you an advantage, both back then with the information it warehoused, to availability of what, properties, buying, selling, owners information, tax records. See, when I got started, all that stuff was very difficult to compile. It was very difficult back then, if you were not a licensed individual, to find all the listed properties, all the tax record information, all the owner's information, what something is sold for, what something is selling for. So back then there was an absolute advantage to get it. The other advantage back then is we as investors, we did a lot of business off the MLS. I mean, when I got started many years ago, probably in my first 10 years in the business, I bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties off the MLS because of the environment back then. It was very easy. I mean, when I got started, we would literally fight to develop relationships with real estate agents who would give us deals. I mean, like, that was like, we would, I don't even tell it anymore because it's so antiquated now, but I used to tell a story of how I built a relationship with this guy named Mike Berry here locally. And Mike Berry, along with two other agents, pretty much single-handedly controlled the REO market here in Georgia. And we all knew that guys like Mike and the two other agents, they had what we call the A-lists. Like, a property would come in, they would just shop it for a second or two before they put it on MLS. And the whole game back then was to get inside Mike's pocket, get on that inner circle list. I mean, it was all about that. And the story I would tell is, it took me 6 months of consistent calling Mike every week, just for him to tell me there was no A-list, until one day, he threw a bone my way. I did a deal with him. And then later, in the next couple of years, I bought a couple hundred properties just from Mike. And so back then, A, advantage, you can get deals off MLS. B, advantage, other realtors can get deals off MLS. So if you're already licensed, you're in their circle, right? You went to the same networking meetings, you were part of the same organization, you talked the same lingo. So if I had a license back then, I could, kind of squirm my way into some realtors that can give me an inside track on deals. And like I said, it was an absolute advantage to either be tied into somebody who was licensed, or you could level up back then and get your own license. Now, I never did, because my whole thing was all the time, I'm a relationship dude. So I built relationships with the guys like Mike and several others, and did very well. Well, that whole landscape began to change to where we've come basically to the other side of the world now. Now, my wanting to impress an agent, like back then it was a scale of 1 to 10, scale 10. Back then I wanted to impress every single agent, right? Now, in the last couple of years, my wanting to impress an agent, scale 1 to 10, is a 0, okay? Because there really is, and if, other than like for a brand new person who doesn't really understand much, but I could tell you there is not really any activity for us as investors on the MLS world. For myriad reasons, tonight's not the night to explain it. But so the value of that relationship has been tremendously diminished on the acquisition side. And so as that, and this is taking place over years. This is not like something that just happened like overnight. This has been like that value has been diminished on the acquisition side for over a number of years. So as the value of that has been diminished, what has also been diminished is the value of that license itself. Okay. Number one, because there's really not that many deals on MLS any longer, if any at all. But the other reason is because of technology. See, back then when I got started, I didn't have the technology to access what MLS had. Well, in the last number of years, there is no advantage that MLS system has that I couldn't somewhere pull from. Okay. There's nothing out there. I can get access to the same tax records. I can get access to the same buy information, sell information, recorded date of sale, who owns what. It's just, there's just nothing there. As a matter of fact, we have an app called Deal Driven. It pulls probably 95% of everything, including what's listed, off the MLS. And we're not by no means the only game in town. So you couple a couple of things. Number one, not really deals, and not really that exclusivity of information. So the value of kind of being licensed has been tremendously diminished from that side. But what a lot of people don't talk about is what happens on the backside, right? And I can tell you, I will still make the point that if all you want to do is get a license to find a good real estate deals, you have a better use of your time in other things. Okay, I don't think it's going to hurt you to get a license to find a deal, but that's not going to be. You're not going to live off MLS. I promise you. There's no one I know that's living off the MLS. But now let's look at the backside of the equation, right? Meaning, the way we all make money as investors is we got to do something with these deals, right? We have to have some kind of an exit strategy. And there, I would argue now that there's probably some value to being licensed. And as a matter of fact, the more I started analyzing this, the more I started realizing there's like a lot of value, especially in how we here at Partner Driven World do things. We have some very unique way of structuring deals. We have some very unique ways of doing deals. We have some very unique ways of stretching our profits more than other people can do, right? And they're all done through licensed realtors. That's the magic behind. It's not even the magic, it's just the reality. For us to implement some of these techniques, some of these strategies that we're doing here, and for us to really capitalize on some of these profits, they all take place because of A, how we structure deals, B, because of how our contracts are written up, but C, make no mistake about it, because we utilize the local real estate agent to help us in those transactions. For instance, one of the things we love doing here at Partner Driven Team is we love wholesaling. I've loved wholesaling from the decades ago when I started this business to now. I think wholesaling is an incredible way to do the business, and especially in our partner-driven model for a number of reasons. Number one, a lot of our partners are brand new. What better strategy to start a brand new person with than a wholesale strategy, right? We do deals across the nation. Okay, well, when you do deals across the nation, your risk level goes up. I don't care who you are, but when you're investing with people across the nation, your risk level, it could be argued, doesn't go up, it goes through the roof. Well, guess what? When you do strategies like the wholesale strategy, it mitigates, right? It limits the risk factor. The other reason we love wholesaling side here is because here at Partner Driven Team, we want to expedite profits for our partners as quickly as possible. Well, I challenge people all the time, show me a strategy that expedites it any quicker than a wholesale strategy. Even probably the nearest strategy to a wholesale strategy probably is a fix and flip, which we partake in here either. But I could tell you in terms of length, there's a 9-day difference. You could execute a wholesale strategy be in and out in 30 to 40 days. On the fix and flip, when you're retailing out, I'm telling you, that's a 4 to 6 to 7 month excursion, no matter how well it's looking or how solid you're going into that deal. So we like to, here at the Partner Driven Team, to speed things up for our partners because we want to put money in their pocket as quickly as possible.
Peter, I would argue right now, wholesale, like, and really what we're doing is wholesaling, because we're wholesaling on a retail market, right? I would fair to say right now, I'm not fixing and flipping anything personally. Do you know why, guys? We're making as much money selling it like it is in this bullish market than ever before. Why take the risk of fixing and selling something when you could just do a double close and sell it in a bullish market? There are other markets that aren't so bullish, or other times in our investing career where it's not the same, right? So I mean, I think that's super important to distinguish that too, as why we're doing that. Because our goal is to get our partners the most money as possible as quickly as we can, right? And to make another $5,000 to sit on something for 6 months would be silly.
Yeah, that's for sure. And to expand upon what what Julie's saying, the only way we could really do what she's saying is because of how we structure our wholesale deals. See, I would argue that if you talk to an average wholesaler across the United States, which I do quite frequently because I like to like get involved in masterminds and things like that, I could tell you an average wholesaler across the nation would probably not agree with what we're talking about right now. They are not saying their margins are through the roof. They are not arguing that they're making more than they might see a little bump, but the reason that we're seeing a huge bump on our wholesale side is how we're able to structure our deals. See, because of how we structure them, how we write them up, we're literally able to pre-market them ahead of time through that. Now we're going back to this magical word, MLS. And on the wholesale side, it's all about finding investors in the back end. It's all about building investor databases. There is no larger investor database in the world than the MLS. Okay. So now we're talking about the back end again. In order to maximize profits, we need to get a realtor involved. In order to get a realtor involved, you have to teach them what we do, educate them on what we do, have them buy into what we do, and pay them for what we do, pay them commission. So now why don't we spin that whole thing around? Why don't we say so does it really make sense potentially, especially if you're in a partner-driven team, to be licensed in the back end? Potentially, yes. Not on the front end, but on the back end. Because the back end, in order to maximize, who doesn't want to maximize profits, right? But in order to maximize profits in the back end, we need the MLS. To do that, you need to be licensed. We need a real estate agent. Well, if you have your own license, that could be you, right? You need to explain to somebody how to do this. Well, if you're doing it yourself, you don't got to explain it to anybody. And somebody's going to make a commission on it. Why not you, right? So now it could be argued that when you're doing things and maximizing things from different strategy perspective, now there could be a very solid argument made that it does, number one, it can't hurt you, okay? But now, and doing things that just don't hurt you for not hurting sake is not worth doing. But doing things that could actually benefit you from a benefit sake is worth doing. So now I could argue very, very logically that if you're in a partner-driven team and you're doing deals with us and you want to maximize how much money you're making, do it in the easiest way possible. By the way, also capitalize on all those sellers that you're talking to today who don't want to sell you at the price we want, but they still want to sell. That could potentially now turn into a listing, right? Or if nothing else, could turn into a referral to an agent that can kick you back legally now a commission in the back end.
You know what, Peter, if we can, I want to stop you there, okay? Because I'm getting excited because this brings me back to the real estate team model that we had. And I do love the agent side of things. And whoever Galaxy J7 Star is, I don't know what your name is because it's not on there, but he's got some good points, or she has some good points. As a licensed individual, it's your fiduciary responsibility to always do the best thing for a seller or your buyer, right? And one of the most important things about becoming licensed, and another thing besides just capitalizing financially, is you learn a lot about contracts in these classes you take to become licensed. You learn a lot of stuff that you can use later on, right? That really helps you. But as it relates to what Peter just said, because I want to reiterate what he just said, because you guys that are licensed, you are missing a huge boat here, a huge boat. And I'm going to give you some numbers, okay? Let's say you're going to an appointment, okay, to meet with a seller to make an offer. Okay. And let's say you need the offer to be at 65,000, but the seller, even after negotiations, wants 100,000 for the property, right? Has anybody been there where a seller wants more than what your cash offer is? Let me know in the chat. And if you hadn't heard this before, then you ain't going on enough appointments, right? Okay. So, as a licensed individual, when the seller says, Peter, I got to have $100,000 for my property. As a licensed individual, this is what I would do if I were you. Okay. This is what I taught our team to do. Is say, well, Peter, if I can get you the $100,000 that you're looking for, can you and I do business together? Peter every time is going to tell me yes. Why not? He said he wants 100,000. Okay. Now I'm putting my other hat on. And the next thing I would say, well, so if I could get you that 100,000, you and I could do business together. Yes. Okay. Well, today I brought an offer based off of one investor, right? But as I'm looking around, this house could be perfect for a new family to move in. What if I could get you the 100,000 you're looking for, maybe even a little bit more, but I need to be able to market your property to all of the investors across the world and all of the homeowners across the world and have it on 76 to 83,000 plus websites to get you that top dollar. Does that sound good? Then you would go into the details of a listing agreement, etc. Let me tell you another statistic. As a seller, 76% of the time, a seller is going to go with the first agent they meet. I want to stop you there. Let that sink in, guys. A seller, 76% of the time, goes with the first agent that they meet. You know what that tells me, Peter? You don't even always have to be the best. You just got to be first. And working with sellers and telling them that you're bringing them an offer further home is a much better intro to a listing appointment than telling them, well, I work for this and I work for this company and we do this, because you're bringing value up front. So you're bringing multiple offers there, right? So I believe there's so many things you could capitalize on while upholding your fiduciary responsibility. And the other thing that I want to hit on, when you're at Partner Driven, because we help you find the deals, we help you show how to get these appointments. It happens every day. We get contracts signed every day. You're partnering with Partner Driven. We fund the deals for you and split profits 50-50. So if we're funding the deals, the contracts go in our investment company's name. Okay. What does that mean for someone that is licensed? That means that you are, that it's not your name necessarily on the line, but you are benefiting on the back end, and you could list the property, right? But if you're going to be a licensed individual ever and be an investor, you'll hear this all the time, and it's disclose, 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 disclose. You must disclose that you're a licensed real estate person before you even go to the appointment. You need to tell people exactly what you're doing. But at 100%, I believe it's beneficial to have that certificate for not only just understanding contracts. People think you go to school and you learn how to be a bang up realtor. You don't. You learn contracts, you learn laws. You're not even taught necessarily comps in that class per se, right? So for me, having a licensed individual on the other end as an investor that knows what they're doing and understands. For me, it's understanding comps. I know that's crazy to you guys, but having a real estate agent that understands what my property could sell for and when it would sell and at what time frame, that means the world to me. And that usually comes with experience, because the buyers are different for these types of properties. And maybe I went on a little bit of a tangent here, Peter.
No. So look, here's the bottom line, guys. I think the further we go along, the further I go along and evolve in this business, I realized a couple things. Number one, this business is an ever-changing business. Like I said, a couple decades ago, having a license, no question, was an advantage. There were a lot of investors getting licenses for no other reason, just to get into information, just to get access. Then there came a time where access and information was a free-for-all. Like, we're in a world of technology, we're in the world of data mining and things like that. So for many years, getting a license was really not an advantage. But I could say right now, especially if you understand the partner-driven team models, if you understand what we do in the back end, how we're able to monetize the back end, how we're able to make more money by able to pre-list things. I'll tell you, our top partner here in the nation called me a couple nights ago, and he said, "Pete, why are we fixing this stuff?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You don't understand. It's such a hot market. All we got to do is just get them tied up and put them on the MLS." Well, guess what? He's a realtor. He's able to do that. Okay, we don't have to. We're in such a hot market. The key right now is to bring things to the market as quickly as possible, whether on the pre-listing side or a post-buy side. And if you happen to have a license, it just makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot more convenient. You don't have to find another agent to do it. Someone makes a commission. Might as well be you, not someone else. You have the ability to pick up some front-end listings on deals that aren't deals. That's a positive. If nothing else, you could always ship those off to another local realtor and have them close them or list them and sell them and pay you a commission. So as I look at the landscape now, I'm not saying you have to be licensed by any means. I'm not licensed. I have no intention of getting licensed. I think Julie said that herself. But I think now, whereas before I would argue against the license, I'm just thinking now, I'm not going to argue against the license anymore. There's obviously ways of doing things and there's certain lingo you got to have, but that's how it is everywhere. Don't ever let the little stuff prevent you from looking at the big picture of what's possible. Because anytime you look at the big picture of what's possible, there's always the little stuff that gets in the way. Okay? And don't focus on the little stuff gets in the way. Focus on what is truly possible. And I would say probably for the first time in my 20-some years career, I would say, you know what, if you want to get a license, get it. I don't see a downside to it. Again, if you're in our world, we'll probably throw some other listings your way, give you some other opportunities. It's a way for you to help more people, for those that we can't help on the investment side. I really do not see a downside. And, some people say, well, it's here for this year. Let me tell you something. People have bought investment deals through real estate agents to a tune of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times.
Millions.
Yeah. Yeah. Many times that seller can't fix the property, can't get it financeable, can't wait for it and all this. So this whole attitude that, well, no, if you're a realtor, you just sell top dollar. That's just amateur hour, totally amateur hour. It's totally not true. As a realtor, your responsibility is to help the individual. And help many times means I got to do it quickly. Help many times means I'm going to be able to help you without having you to fix it, to get it up to a certain standard. Help many times means I'm going to get you what you want, not what I think you should get. So I don't think there's any issue there. And I know, tons of my friends who've done tons and tons of transactions as investors by having licensed. So having said all this, I will tell you, I don't see there's a downside. I don't think there's a downside. And as we've kind of batted this idea around we said, well, there is no downside. Why do we not make it available? And we're not quite ready to release this to our partners. But I will tell you, we are in talks with somebody right now that will be able to, if our partners want to, be able to get a license at a very inexpensive way, very easy way, very kind of frou-frou way, very vanilla. So we're in talks. I think I don't see a downside to it. So if you're a partner of ours and you see it, like you've been thinking about it, or maybe you hear us tonight, and you're like, well, that makes sense, then stay tuned. Stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. We will probably have an opportunity for you to do that. Even if you're not a partner, if that's kind of a direction you want to go into, stay tuned. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have an option to do that. Julie, you got something to add to that?
I would, and I would like to make my piece about something because it's a pet peeve of mine. So you know how like all of us are on investor groups on Facebook, or you're talking to other investors, and I hear people brag over and over and over again. Oh, I got my realtor to reduce their commission to 1%, or I got my person to reduce their commission to this, or reduce their commission to this. Listen, don't try to make more money by reducing their commission. An agent or a realtor that is willing to reduce their commission like that easy, is that somebody that you really want negotiating on your behalf? No, it's not. It's not. And also it goes back to what I said earlier. People think they make all this money. You can make lots of money. I met this woman that made over $1 million a year being a licensed real estate agent, over $1 million a year. But she never reduced her commission once. I mean, she might have for like some of the big deals, but quit trying to make more money on your deals because you want to reduce their commission, because there's so many fees and things associated, and they did go into business for themselves, and they deserve that commission. Okay, maybe over time 0.5% or something, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But I am excited. Like Peter said, I know we're not ready to release that, but we are working on this for you guys, and we'll bring that out shortly for those of you that want to participate or want this, other pin in your investor hat. And I want to do another plug, guys. Guess what? We are drawing closer and closer to our live event, June 26th and 27th here in Atlanta. Guys, if you're listening now and you have not purchased tickets, you need to be there. Not only are you going to learn so much that weekend, because I'll promise you this, I've been to many real estate seminars where I literally felt like I was just pitched the entire time. Who else has been there? Yeah, I know everybody has. Our main goal at this live event is to learn more, because we want our partners doing more deals. Okay, whether you're a partner or not, but we are filling up fast. So click the link in the chat to join us June 26th, 27th. You will be amazed the relationships you will create that weekend, not just with the speakers. Myself will be there, Peter, our wonderful coaches. We got some awesome stuff that's going to happen. But my goodness, it's the people around you that are attending the event. Some of my dear friends now, I met at those events. You never know. So you really need to be there. June 26th, 27th, flying to Atlanta is very inexpensive compared to other places because it's a major hub. The hotel is right next to the airport, so you can just hop a shuttle right over there to that hotel. And it's on a Saturday and a Sunday, so be there. Oh, and guys, for those of you that are not yet partners, now's the time. Now's the time. We're doing more deals than ever. We're in a bullish market. And for those of you that are partners, you need to get to it. You need to get to it. It's not a time for excuses. Everything we're putting on the market is selling that we get direct to seller. Stop making excuses and start taking action. Okay? We need all the deals we can. Don't miss this opportunity. Okay. For those of you that are not partners, I want to show you how to do it. We want to work with you every day, Monday through Friday. So all you have to do is, if you would like to know more about being our partner tonight, all you got to do is call this number, which is 770-746-8585. We have people standing by. And I mean, we can't wait to start working with you. I mean, just today, let me think. How many was it today, Peter? I think we worked 5 BC contracts today. So what does that mean, Peter? Tell everybody what a BC contract means.
Means we're going to closing, selling deals, guys. I mean, it's an incredible time to be in real estate. Look, you don't need to, if you're at all here tonight and you're considering real estate, you should already be sold on the timing. There's never been a better time. So you just got to figure it out. If you want to do it yourself, we're going to be your biggest cheerleaders. We're going to cheer you on. If you think the partner-driven model is the best way to do it, where we'll actually take the responsibility to show you how to do it, help you generate leads. I'll give you the capital to close on these deals. We sell them, split the profits. If that's a better model for you, then we definitely encourage you to call a team member on standby. I think there's a phone number flashing around somewhere at 770-746-8585. But guys, what we showed you today is what partner-driven model is all about. You know, we try to bring as much value to our partners in any which way we can. You know, when we got started doing deals, the last thing we thought about is let's talk about licensing and maybe doing that. But there's a lot of reasons, other reasons why we talked about this tonight that we'll share with you over a period of time. We here at Partner Driven, myself, Julie, and the team behind us, we try to provide as much value. We try to provide as many shortcuts as possible, because don't let anyone tell you there are no shortcuts in life. Okay, that somebody doesn't understand how to become successful. There are absolutely shortcuts in life. Okay, it's just a matter of, are you going to figure out what they are and take advantage of them? So listen, I enjoyed it. Julie, any parting words?
No, I just hope everybody has an awesome evening. And for those of you out there that are already licensed, coming from me, I appreciate the hard work you put in. And I know how hard it is to an extent. So we appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you to our partners. Thank you for being there. Thank you for all the Partner Driven Max clients in our success. Because let me tell you, y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing it. And you are what people are going to be looking up 2 years from now. I promise you that. So thank you for putting so much work in.
Yeah, absolutely. So on behalf of myself, Julie, most importantly, the amazing team that's behind us that makes this all possible, we appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Julie and I will be back same time, same place next week. And we want you all to have an amazing night. Thanks, guys.